Yes, my dear students, now we are back to our new session, history. Last sessions we were discussing third lesson. So let us go to third lesson. So take our lesson, please. Last session we began Alauddin Khalji. His time period was 1296 to 1013-16. That was his ruling time. He was an ablest ruler of Khalji dynasty. So, yeah, last time we had come to know that Alauddin sent his commander Malik Kafur to bring the richest states of Deccan under his control. Okay, he sent. Why did he send him to put the Deccan under his control? What was the speciality of Deccan? This is a fertile plain. That is why, because at that time our main occupation was agriculture. By 1313, I mean 1313, the Yadavas of Devgiri, then Katyas of Warangal, the Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra, and the Pandyas of Madurai, and all accepted Alauddin's overlordship for a brief period. So, Alauddin ruled almost the whole of India with Malik Kafur as his vice regent. So, this much we completed last time. Now, let us see Mongol raid. Alauddin built a new fort and repaired old ones along the northwestern frontiers. What he did, he built a new one, same time he had repaired the old ones too. These able generals drove back the Mongol raiders and who raided India several times during this time. And we know the Mongolians habit was to attack India and raid India. So, since he took a step to prevent them, to protect from them what India. Okay. And Alauddin's policies and contribution. Alauddin was the first Delhi Sultan to maintain well-equipped standing army. He gave first preference to the army, maintaining his army. He paid his soldiers in cash and supplied them with imported horses. And what he did? He gave the soldiers what? Cash, not in land. And he provided them horses which is a imported breed. And the horses were branded with the royal insignia to prevent them. Detailed description of each soldier was kept to prevent substitution. And Alauddin had land released and fixed new rates of revenue. Alauddin, however, he had a land recessed and fixed new rate of revenue because government's main income was coming from land revenue. That is why he had reset that one. Surplus grains were stored in granaries to meet natural crises like famines and flood. Surplus grains, after their use, they stored it. That is, they used when a natural calamity comes. And Alauddin fixed the prices of all items of daily use. Then weights and measures were standardized, and cheating was severely punished. And these measures benefited the people. Alauddin built a new city called Ziri and a reservoir called the House Khas. Now in Delhi, he also added a madrasa, Muslim education institution, also called madrasa. So, and the Alai Darwaza to Qutb group of monuments, Mehrauli, Delhi, he renowned scholar and Muslim Amir Khusru adorned his court. and we can see so one of the renowned scholar, that scholar and musician. What was his name? His name was Amir Khusru. He was adorned his court that time. So let us go to Tughlaq dynasty. Now another dynasty. Hmm? The Tughlaq dynasty was started by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Started by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, that is in 1320. Ghiyasuddin was a just and efficient ruler. He suppressed revolt and repelled Mongolian invasions. And Ghiyasuddin, what he did, he was an efficient ruler. He protected India from Mongolian attack. And Muhammad bin Tughlaq. In 1325, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was succeeded by his son Jauna Khan, who took the title of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. And Ibn Battuta, and a traveler from Tangier, North Africa, has left an interesting account of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Ibn Battuta, he wrote an interesting account about whom? About Muhammad bin Tughlaq. We know he was he was a scholar, but his policies was foolish ones, wise one, but the introducing time period was not so good. That is why all the policies which he followed or introduced, that was a failure. Muhammad bin Tughlaq had received education in literature, religion, philosophy. I said to you that he was a very much learned person. He composed verses in Persian and Arabic, and he laid stress on merit and even raised people of humble origins to high positions. This offended many of the nobles who refused to cooperate with him. What was the thing? So he gave good positions according to the knowledge to the poor ones. This angered many of the nobles. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq made grand plans, but they were never carried out properly. Since he was a very efficient, he made grand plans, but it was not so practical ones. Then shift capital, first one, it was first foolish thing, that was a shifting of capital. Muhammad bin Tughlaq decided to shift his capital in a place safe from Mongol attack. His aim was genuine. Why did he shift the capital? In order to protect the Indian people from Mongolian attack. But he chose Dauladabad in Deccan. Where he chose? It was in Dauladabad. It was far away from Delhi. He built a road to help officials and nobles from Delhi to shift to new capital. First, whenever we are shifting a capital, then so much money we have to spend. So first he built a road. Then he shifted the people from Delhi to there. All the officers he has to shift. So what was the problem? But when he realized that the northeastern frontiers could not be controlled from Dauladabad, he shifted the capital back to Delhi. Then he realized, after shifting, he realized that it is not so good idea. So what he did it, he shifted back to Delhi. The Sultan lost control over the Deccan, where the Vijayanagar and Bahmani kingdoms arose. By this action, he lost his some of the land, Deccan area, fertile area, and there arose two kingdoms, new kingdoms, that is Vijayanagara and Bahmani. So dear ones, we will discuss about Muhammad bin Tughlaq in next class. So read the lesson. Have a nice day. Thank you.